Guten Tag, moin moin und hallo bei Crowd Gaming. Normale First-Person-Shooter kann jeder, aber das Ganze im Mac-Format zu machen, das schafft irgendwie nur Hawken, zumindest sind dies die einzigen, die sich trauen, das zu tun. Und wir hatten hier auf der Gamescom die Chance, uns mal eine Entwicklerpräsentation zu Hawken anzuschauen. Die gesamte Entwicklerpräsentation gibt es jetzt auf Crowd Gaming.
So I'm Paul Loynd, I'm the release manager at Meteor Entertainment, and this is Hawken. So this is the main menu here, and this is where the player will first be brought to after they log in through our launcher and the game patches, if there's any patches that are available. In the main menu you have the deploy option. That's where you're going to go if you just want to get into a game. It's going to show you the server list, or if you want to just quick match, I don't want to look for a server, just find me a server and get me into a game, you can do that as well. It'll just find you the best connection with an open server. The garage, that's where the magic happens. That's where you build out your mechs, that's where you define your loadouts, you do all your customization. We'll get there in a sec. The store, obviously that's where you're going to buy things. Profile, so you can look at your own profile, see your stats, see how you compare to your friends or other people. We'll have friends as well, so if I'm playing and you're online, you know, and we're friends, I can be like, oh, let's get in a party, let's go jump in a match together. Messages, options. So let's start out with the garage. In the garage, you'll have a list of mechs that are available to you. For new players will have a stable of mechs that they can use that we provide, that we cycle out. So they'll change on a regular basis, and you know, if I haven't bought any mechs yet, I'll just be able to use the ones that are available to me that, you know, we provide for you. Let's say I want to edit a mech. I'll start in the mech area. The mech area is the visual area. Any changes that you make here don't have any effect on the game. So I don't get stronger or faster or better by changing out my parts. It just changes the way my mech looks. The things that you can change are, first, your paint scheme. Originally, we were letting players create their own paint schemes, but that actually became kind of wieldy, so it was hard for them to make a cool paint scheme. So what we're actually going to be doing is...
So you ended up with a lot of Hello Kitties or...
No, not even that good. We ended up with like weird stripes of strange colors going across the mics.
Awkward body parts.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to be doing is providing custom paint schemes that players can buy, and then they can apply those to their mech. Much safer and easier for everyone. Once I've decided what my paint scheme is, I can actually come over here and change the parts of my mech. So if I want to change out the mech chassis, I can do that, or if I want those legs. All right, so after I've changed the mech appearance and customized the mech to the way that I want it to look, I can move over to the loadout screen. The loadout screen is where I define my weapons. This has actually changed since this build. This build was our E3 build. We're using it here because it's easy and streamlined for getting lots of people playing the game. But actually, we have changed out the way that secondary weapons work. Originally, we were letting people just choose all of their parts, and what we found is that players get confused by lots of choices. Like, some people love the minutia. There's people that love to dig way in and, you know, do all the min-maxing on exactly this weapon with this pairing and, you know, this set of upgrades. But the average, you know, most players, they just want to play the game, right? And the weight of choices becomes confusing for them. They're like, I don't know what is a good pairing, and I just want to play the game, you know, like, give me some, I want a sniper, build me a sniper. So now what we do is when we sell you a mech, that mech comes paired with a special weapon and a special ability. So it makes it a lot easier. It's like a template or a jumping off point where you can say, like, I see a sniper rifle and a camo ability. I know what that mech is. That's going to be a sniper mech. So I have a starting point. I know what to do with that mech. So when I get into the garage, I know how I'm going to put parts together. I'm going to make it a sniper mech. So it makes it easier for the player to quickly build a mech that's, you know, something that they want to do and fills a role that they like to play. We let you have a choice of primary weapons. So you can take 2 primary weapons with each loadout. And what that allows for is a little bit of flexibility. So let's say, for instance, I'm using this light assault mech and I'm playing in a match. The Vulcan cannon is really great for the map that I'm on because it's a medium range engagement weapon. And it's doing very well, you know, I'm liking it. But then the map changes, and now it's like a very tight, close quarters map. The Vulcan cannon is not going to be so effective anymore. It's not as good of a weapon. So I can have the flat cannon available as well. So when I spawn in and I launch, I can switch over to the flat cannon, and now I'm, you know, more spec'd out for more close combat. So I don't have to have like tons and tons of mechs. I have a little bit of wiggle room with what I can do with those mechs and kind of like change depending on what map I'm on and what the situation demands. So down here at the bottom you see we have attachments. These are limited use items. So think of them like grenades and things from a game like Call of Duty or Battlefield. You have a limited use of them, but they provide like a strategic advantage in certain situations. So the offensive attachments are things like HE charges. Those are like grenades from X. Detonators, which are like remote charges. Turrets, my personal favorite. I love turrets. They're fun, they annoy people, and they're very effective.
So you're probably the Team Fortress 2 engineer?
I used to play the engineer a lot, but in Hawken, I usually play more offensively.
All right.
I play like very, very aggressive close combat mechs. That's like my favorite style.
All right.
For when I'm playing Hawken. Defensive attachments are things like shields and holograms. Shields they're a projectile. You can shoot them out, and whatever target they hit, they build a shield. A shield populates, and you can go inside that shield and start shooting targets outside the shield, but things can't shoot into the shield. There's one caveat to that: you can throw a grenade into a shield. So if you get close enough, you can still damage someone, but like bullets and missiles, they'll just explode on the outside of the shield, and the person will be protected. The hologram is awesome. That's one of my favorite items. It's really great for like if you're being chased. Like let's say you're chasing me and I duck around a corner. I can drop the hologram and then duck around another corner. The hologram actually shows up as an enemy. Your reticle will like target it as an enemy, and you'll think it's me. It moves around like I do. And the only way you know it's a hologram is that when you shoot at it, it starts to shimmer, and then it says hologram up at the top of the reticle, and it's kind of an awesome gotcha moment. Because while you're shooting at my hologram, I'm still getting away. And so either I can come around and flank you again and finish you off, or if I'm damaged and I need to repair, it buys me a few seconds to get away from you and disappear off the map.
All right.
And get to a point where I can repair. The functional attachments are things like EMP, so I can shoot that at someone and disable their mech, or the sensors that'll show me when mechs come to a specific area. Once I'm done with the loadout, I go to the upgrades area. And the upgrades are comprised of two main components, the skill trees and the internals. The skill trees are specific to a mech. So as I'm leveling up in the game, I'm going to get points. And those points are used in the skill trees to further customize the mech the way that I want to play it. There's three main skill trees: the offense tree, the defense tree, and the movement tree. And this mech, for instance, is spec'd into the movement tree. Movement will do things like increase your run speed, increase the acceleration rate so you'll speed up quicker. It'll increase your boost capacity so you can boost for longer. It'll increase the speed at which you boost. So essentially, if I put tons of points in the movement tree, I'm going to move faster than other mechs move. So it's really awesome if, for instance, like I want to build a mech that's good at capping points, or getting to an area before other people. The movement tree is going to make that happen. So I'm going to get there like twice as fast as other mechs because I can just boost longer and boost faster. And then I'll cap that point and be gone before people even get there. The offense tree is actually my favorite tree because it makes you do lots of damage. That's going to do things like decrease your weapon heat so you can fire for longer. It's going to increase your fire rate. It'll increase the base percentage of damage that you do with certain weapons or weapons across the board. And just in general make you kill things faster. And then the defense tree just is survivability. You're going to have additional health. It's going to provide damage mitigation, so like you take less damage from certain weapon types all the way down to the bottom. At the bottom of each tree, if you go all the way into a tree, there's a passive ability at the bottom that, for instance, in the offense tree, if you go all the way to the bottom, it is a 3% or 5% increase to damage all the way across the board. So now all my weapons do that much more damage. In the defense tree, it's straight mitigation, so I take less damage from everything. And in the movement tree, it's just I can move faster. Internals, after I'm done with the skill trees, internals are the next thing. These will be available for purchase. They're like little upgrades. They provide an incremental upgrade on top of what I've already done with my skills over here. So let's say, for instance, in the offense internal, I have an attachment that's giving me 3% increase to damage. So whatever I'm using does 3% more damage. In defense, I have plus 50 max health, so have a little bit more health. I'm gonna survive longer. And in functional, I have an increase to my max fuel, so I can boost longer. There's going to be a range of attachments. In offense, there will be things like increase your primary rate of fire, decrease the cooldown of your special weapon, increase damage type for a specific type of weapon. Things that just make you attack more, your attacks more effective. In defense, it's things like increase the regeneration rate, so you'll repair faster, decrease the amount of damage you take from weapons, things like that. And then in movement, in functional, it's movement-based stuff, or radar-based stuff. So I can decrease my signature on the radar. People don't see me from as far away, or I can see people from farther away. It's layers of customization so that players can further define, even though I'm a sniper that's more gauged towards movement, or I'm a sniper that's more gauged towards offense. So we give the player wiggle room so that there's not like these so clearly defined roles that are black and white, where it's like, this is what you do and this is all you do. Like, we give them options so that they can have more play experiences, right? Like, you give them enough rope so they can, not enough so they hang themselves, but enough that they can feel like, I can play the way that I want to play. So again, the points that you get from leveling up, those points, once you have them, you will have those for every mech that you buy. So if I spend them here and I buy a new mech, I have those points again for that mech, because these trees are specific to that mech. So once I'm done making my mech, I save that mech, and let's go into a game really quick and see that workflow. So when I launch into a game, when I join a game session, this is the launch screen. It's the first screen that I'm going to see when I come in. Up here at the top, you'll see I have a list available of all the mechs that I have in my garage. So if I decide that I want to play as the medium demo, I'm going to come down here and I'll switch to that mech. And then the primary weapons that I have available for that mech, I can switch between those primary weapons. That is the only thing that we let you change when you're in a game. We don't let you edit your mech your mech loadouts when you're in game, because we want you playing the game. If people are sitting in the launch screen editing all their stuff, they're not in the game playing with other people, and we want you to be playing. So
as far as understanding, you are on the server right now. You already in.
I'm hosting a server right now. Yeah.
So you want to prevent people fiddling around with their mech setup and locking up a slot on the server.
Exactly.
All right.
If you're in the game, we want you playing the game.
All right.
And so that's, they basically choose their weapon and go. So once you're in the game, you'll see the cool little startup sequence. There's a little I&I boot screen that shows up on the mech. Your weapons power up. And then you see your entire heads-up display as well as the radar up here. So the heads-up display, you have your life down here. That's how much life you have. This is your boost. So as I'm moving around, if I, let's get off this ledge here. If I'm boosting, you see that circle starts to shrink, and then it starts to grow back as I stop boosting. When the circle gets all the way gone, I'm out of boost, and I actually have to let it cool down for a little bit as it recharges before I can boost again. Over here, you can see my attachments, like the turret, for instance. So I'm going to drop that turret down. And now that turret powers up, and it's going to sit there and just target enemies that come close. The turrets will stay alive as long as you are alive, or until someone destroys the turret. So they're awesome for really annoying people. You can set them up in choke points, or my favorite thing to do is take homing turrets and have a couple of guys go to a really high area over an open space and drop homing turrets, and then when people start moving through that area, the homing turrets just start raining death on them. The radar up here, you see this little cone right here. If enemies are within that cone, it means they're visible to you, but it also pings them on the map for your teammates. So if you're behind me and you don't see the mech that I see, you'll still see the red circle on your mini-map, because I'm visually, I have a visual acquisition on that target. The only way that you show up on the map is, one, if someone's looking at you and targeting you with their active cone, or two, if you are shooting, or three, if you're boosting. So it adds kind of a little layer of strategy. You know that as long as you're not doing one of those three things, that you're actually not showing up on the map, so you're essentially hidden. So what I like to do is go around in the light mech, and I'll kind of sneak around until I see someone show up on the map, and then I'll kind of go over to that area and I ambush them, and try to kill them really quickly so that I can get away again to like an area where I can hide, and then I'll repair my mech if I need to and wait, because inevitably someone will see that on the map and they'll come over to join the fight, and then once they get there, I sneak up and I ambush them as well, and I'll usually get a couple kills for that.
All right.
But what that does for us is, like we want layers of depth in the game. We want the game to be playable for like the casual audience that only plays shooters. Maybe like I have time on the weekend and I'll play for 4 hours. But the core players are going to get into the layers of depth as well. They're going to see like strategies. Like one of my favorite strategies is to drop a hologram and then drop a turret under the hologram, because then what happens is you'll have missile fire or something coming out of the turret, and it confuses the player because they see a mech and they're getting shot at, but you can't see the turret through the hologram, so it makes them think it's real, and it sells the hologram basically. So it's one of my favorite tricks to like get people distracted, and then they're trying to kill the mech, but the turret's down here, so they're missing the turret, they're not damaging the turret, and in the meantime I'm shooting them in the back. So.
All right. Awesome.
So it's good fun.
So it's basically hide and seek with huge mechs.
I wouldn't say it's always hide and seek. Like not everyone plays like I do. I'm all about sneaking up on people because the light mech is really squishy, right? It doesn't have a lot of life. The different mech classes have different advantages. The light is very mobile, but it has less hit points than the other two mech types. So playing that mech requires you to be really good at dodging. It's all about mobility. Your advantage is that you move faster and you can get away easier. So hit and run is basically how the light gets its advantage. Medium is kind of the middle ground. It has more life than the light, but not as much as the heavy. It's a little bit slower than the light, but faster than the heavy. And it's more focused on just dealing damage. The medium is a very popular sniper platform, because one of the special moves that's available for medium mechs is a damage boost. So if you bought one of the mechs that had the damage boost and the sniper rifle on it, you could build a sniper platform, fire off your damage boost, and boom, just like huge damage to mechs. Like potentially, depending on what kind of mech it is, take it out in one shot. The special move's on a cooldown, so you can't do that all the time. Like once you use your special move, it's like 2 minutes before you can use it again. But in the right situation, it's going to be the thing that turns the tide of battle, right?
All right. So what game modes do you have? Like capture the flag, team deathmatch, free for all?
Currently, our announced modes are deathmatch, team deathmatch, and our flagship mode, Siege. Siege is a really, it's our own like new mode that we kind of look at as our flagship. It works like this. You have two teams, and both teams go out on the map and they're collecting energy. There's two energy trees on each map, and the players have to go to those energy trees and collect energy and bring it back to base. That energy launches a battleship. Once you've collected enough energy for your base, a battleship will launch from your base and start making its way across the map. The idea is that you're trying to get that battleship to the other team's base so that it can start attacking the base and destroy it. So think of it like a battering ram, basically. When a battleship launches, the enemy team has a couple of options. They can either try and shoot it out of the sky themselves, which is incredibly ineffective because their weapons won't do as much damage, or they can come over to an anti-air turret like this guy right here. So this is an anti-air turret. It's a capture point. When a battleship is launched, you want to get your team to that anti-air turret and capture that point. Once it's captured, it'll start firing missiles at the enemy battleship. It's the most effective way to destroy a battleship. If you own the anti-air turret, you're going to shoot the battleship down. But the other team can capture the anti-air turret as well, and when they capture the anti-air turret, it turns into a forward base for them. So now they start spawning around the anti-air turret, which helps them keep the forward momentum and push the ship further towards the enemy's base.
Can we imagine that game mode something like the gameplay in Battlefield 2142?
Which mode are you talking about specifically?
Where both ships are flying over the maps, and the more points you hold, the heavier the other ship gets destroyed.
Kind of. A little bit. You can have 2 battleships at the same time launch, but really it's more about getting the ship to the enemy's base. The ships will kind of shoot at each other as they're going across, so you can have like battleship battles. But it's more about getting the ship to the enemy's base. The more points, we're actually making some changes to Siege right now. So it's interesting that you bring that up. Like there are some things that might change about that, but essentially, yeah, the main idea is get the battleship across the map so that it can destroy the base. So we haven't announced any other game modes, but we are working on them. There will be other game modes inevitably, whether that's for launch or after launch. I can't say right now because it's a matter of being able to get them done in time for launch. But yes, there will be other game modes.
So when can player get a hand on the game?
So if you're here at Gamescom, you can go over to Hall 8. We're at the ESL booth, and you'll be able to play right now. If you're not at Gamescom, I'm sorry. You should be. But you can go to our website, playhawken.com, and you can sign up for our closed beta. We are doing the closed beta very, very, very soon, so I definitely suggest that people go sign up as quick as possible. If you're already signed up, awesome. That's great, and you're probably going to get into our closed beta. If you haven't, sign up now so that you can get in and play. If you don't get into the closed beta, then 12/12/12 is our launch date. So this December, you'll be able to play the game when it launches.